Okay, let me make sure I'm online. Okay, hello, I'm Alex from A.P. Inc. So today I'm going to be picking up where I had left off before, creating these patterns. So let me really quickly give you the reference that I'm working off of. So I was working on trying to recreate this kind of zigzag diamond pattern. Hopefully you can see that. So this one right here. So I think I'll come down maybe a quarter of an inch for the next zigzag. So in all there's 4. One, no, the first 2, and then there's kind of like a wide gap for a secondary color, and then 2 more to almost like border that secondary color. We'll see if I can actually get my zigzag to look like a zigzag. Okay, so quarter of an inch lines up with this line here, but then an inch down from that. Okay, it's been a couple of days since I've done this. It looks like I already marked off for this, because that's a quarter inch there. That's a half inch here from that to that, and then a quarter inch down from there. Let's see. Okay, I've already marked out for that, so it's just a matter of... Okay. Now that's where the starting point comes to. If I should have... I guess if I should use this quarter inch mark here to mark how far down the zigzag should come. Of course, I fully accept that this might not turn out the way I want it. Okay, so I offset the bottom zigzag 1/8 of an inch from the top. So I'm just marking for where my line should come down. So this is a 1/8 of an inch away from the border here. And then I'm just gonna mark out a quarter of an inch all the way out. Okay, so that's where my line will come down to. But if I should from here, from let me actually make sure that's right. Okay, so from my indicator to kind of measure in the center. So this is going to be a 1/4 inch. So every 1/4 inch from the border. And that'll show me where my line should go up to. And then I've already got those two because I messed up when I was measuring that out. So then it's just a matter of connecting the dots. So I think my zigzag not only will be too tight, but it'll potentially be too close. We'll see how it looks. Now, I obviously can't go over this green with a yellow and have the yellow stand out, but maybe I could go over with a darker green to get that color change. Okay, so measuring the next set. I'm just looking at my zigzag. I'm not sure how I messed that up, but I did. Okay, so I think to measure a 1/4 inch out all the way across, and then from here for the lower half to measure a 1/8 of an inch out all the way across. Well, okay, it's a 1/8 of an inch from the border, and then it's a 1/4 inch all the way out until the last one here, with which would also be an 1/8 of an inch. Now clearly my zigzag is not perfect. I'm trying. Okay, so for the lower, the last set of zigzag, it's gonna go from this point, I think, to that point. And I'm just measuring from that down, that point. So that is a 1/4 inch down. So from the border line, I'm going to measure out a 1/4 inch all the way across, just as I've done above. And then to measure down a 1/4 inch on both sides, just so I'm sure that my ruler is straight. And then from this point to measure over 1/8 inch. And then after that, a 1/4 inch. I'm interested to see exactly how Easter this is going to look versus just a collection of patterns. Given that I'm taking my reference from Easter eggs. I know there are some Easter eggs out there that have a lot more floral patterns. I think I was watching a video from Drawing with Waffles on YouTube. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. She put out a video painting Easter eggs. She had wooden Easter eggs. And I think she had put out a similar video 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not sure now. Where she did the same thing. And I'm taking my knowledge from her video. I haven't looked this up. But that there is a floral, like a blue floral pattern on white that I think is Dutch in nature, but those are kind of really pretty. This looks really sloppy. Okay, I kind of want to go over my white gel pen again because these are probably just old gel pens, but the ink isn't as solid as I'd like it to be. But I think to maybe push the color switch, like I said, yellow's not going to stand out here, but a darker green will. I don't remember what green I had used before. Okay, I think I used pale green. So I think maybe this forest green. I think I'll go bullet nib, just so maybe I don't go over the gel pen. Okay. I think before I go on to these two, I'm gonna try to pick out colors for the next row so that they have a chance to dry before we get to them. It would be kind of interesting if I was able to pick a different color for each square. I don't know if that's actually going to be possible though. So maybe this pink color, which I think this was pastel pink. If you do multi-day projects like I'm working on here, write down the colors that you use so you can refer back. Yeah, I think I used that pastel pink. So try to break this up a little bit so I don't have pink next to pink. Not that it matters, it's just a me thing. Maybe I'll make that one pink. It'll potentially help break up the kind of dark colors here. This might be kind of fun. If I did left one white and tried to make this color block pattern, maybe I'll do that one here. This one would be kind of simple. Just like a teal kind of blue, which I don't have teal blue looking colors in this collection, but like a teal kind of blue with 2 rows of white dots. That's all I'm able to make out there. Okay, so I think, well, okay, let me finish this first. I was gonna move right on into this one. So here, okay, wait. I still need to do this. So I'm gonna do fluorescent rose. These have unfortunately been hanging out for a bit, so they're a bit dusty because I've had them out in a marker case, whatever they're called. Try and get the color even so it doesn't look that streaky. Okay, pink. Again, I think I'm going to try to keep that one white for the kind of color block. So maybe I'll do this one, the kind of green teal. You know, I'm actually kind of curious what would happen to try and achieve that kind of green teal color if I did mint green light, which this might work if I'm actually able to apply the ink, but you can actually blend these colors, mix these colors on top of each other, the markers. Although this isn't really a teal color, but it might be fine. I'm just not sure if white on top of green is going to look kind of Christmassy. Try to saturate the block again to try to get rid of that streakiness. Okay. Maybe this one here. So kind of an olive green. I think maybe this lime green. Hopefully I wasn't thinking of having two greens this close to each other, but there's enough of a difference in the tone that it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Okay, that'll be the color block. In the reference, there's really only one orange. I'm gonna make this one orange and come up with a pattern of my own. I think I used marigold down here. Or maybe that was marigold. Or maybe they're both marigold. I think I want to make this one orange, but maybe a different tone. Maybe melon yellow, which is orange, in my opinion. I mean, I guess it's kind of melon, but I'm getting more like pumpkin vibes from that. Okay. I don't remember which two I was looking at for these two. So this one is here. Maybe I was looking here, which is completely illegible. I think I have an idea on that though. So eggs are round, obviously. I feel like there's one of two ways to do this, to actually just do a straight line, which is what I'm gonna do, or to have like a bowed or a rounded edge, because it's hard to make out. It looks like there's something white potentially on the bottom of this egg. And I don't know if they do it anymore, but there used to be kind of pre-decorated sleeves that you could put on eggs. So if you get those egg decorating kits, some of them give you tablets to dye the egg. Well, the sleeves, you can dye the egg, but the sleeves are meant to just like cover just a portion of the egg, leaving the top and bottom white. So I measured up 1/4 of an inch on both sides. I can only partially see this egg, but I'm thinking to try to create a kind of banded look here, so the top and bottom are white. Which, it's going to be a pain in the butt to try to fill this in with a white gel pen. So I think I'll grab a Posca pen for that. Okay, and then this is 2 inches. So I think to find the center, I should be doing this with a pencil. I want to see if I can create kind of a woven look, which probably won't work. So I measured for the center point and then 1/8 of an inch on either side of that. Okay, so I think just to keep my line straight, I'm going to connect these points with a pencil. I was going to do like a braided look, but again, I don't think that's going to work. So maybe instead of doing that, if I'm going to pull my Posca pen to do the top and bottom, I could try to do dabbed dots with the Posca pen as well. My Posca pen nib is a lot beefier than a white gel pen. So maybe what I'll do is I'll measure out a 1/4 inch on the top and bottom lines. And then on the center line, to kind of offset, I'm going to measure 1/8 of an inch and then a 1/4 inch all the way across. I don't know what just fell. Okay. If I should wait and do that one last. Posca pens, at least from my experience, and I think this has only happened once, that it can blow up on you. They also take a bit longer to dry than a gel pen. So I think it's been a minute since I've used this. I'll try to go back after and erase the pencil. I don't know if I want to go back over that again to touch up the dots, make them a bit more opaque. Okay, I actually do have a fan on, so I'm going to dip this down in the fan so we can try to push that Posca pen to dry some. And maybe we can go over again. I might have to let it set, move on to the next, but potentially I should have probably also waited until the end to do that one, just because of how the drying time of Posca pens. One of these days I am going to go and get all of the colors. I'm kind of waiting until I run out on this one before I go get more. Here's a question though for anybody watching. Obviously you can't answer here if you're watching on Twitch, but you can DM me if you have an answer for this, please. If you're watching after on YouTube, please leave comments on the video. If you use paint pens, which brand of paint pen do you use? Because there's Posca pen, but I think I've seen Sharpie has paint pens now. Arteza has paint pens. I think I've seen, like, I want to call them off-brand or no-name brands that have put out their own paint pens. They probably are actually branded, but they're not like big name brand like Posca or Arteza, if you would consider Arteza a big brand. Um, I think maybe Ohuhu has paint pens, but yeah, if you use paint pens, which brand do you lean towards? If you have any experience. Like, I could go and look up videos of other people who have used paint pens, but I don't know. Watching other people use products, they give their opinion on that product, which is great, but some opinions are based on their own biases, biases and preferences, which that's absolutely what you should do anyway. But somebody else's preferences or biases are not mine. Okay, I'm gonna touch this up again. Which this isn't that bad, but it is looking kind of rough, kind of streaky. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry again, and then we'll move on to the next. So, does anybody else have any kind of trouble trying to find real references and not something that's AI generated? Because when I picked this one, I thought it was a real photo, but as I look at some of the details, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm thinking this is actually an AI generated image. Like this one. Maybe this is a yellow dyed egg with green and blue splotches on it for some reason that maybe somebody has glued some kind of teal something on top of it. But, and minor details. If this is some kind of like teal paper or whatever, why does it have a white edge right there? Why does that have a yellow edge right there? I really don't like AI. I like, maybe this is me just being stuck up, but if you're into art in any aspect, whether it's drawing, music, painting, why wouldn't you put the time in and develop your skill instead of having some code to dictate what should and shouldn't be? Okay, sorry, I will get off my soapbox now. Okay, I think for this one, that seems dry enough. I'm gonna go a little off script here, I think. I'm gonna switch from a 2B pencil to a 2H pencil for a lighter line. So I'm measuring from that first line using the numbers to indicate where the next line should be. So I'm like setting the numbers on that line. It might be about 1/4 of an inch. Okay, maybe from there to be a bit abstract, kind of pop art-ish inspired. So like a two, I want to say two-toned, but that's not what this is. I don't know. Two different patterns. So I'm measuring every 1/2 inch. And then I think if I should do the same over here so that my line ruler is straight. Is this necessarily Easter inspired? No. There's too many lines. Okay. Debating if I want to go maybe I'll do both. I'll do white gel pen and then Posca pen. I don't know. Is there probably if I look this up, I would get potentially an accurate answer. But is there like official Easter patterns or is it just whatever you want? That might not even show up because white on top of yellow is not the best choice. Whoops. I don't have shoot, I don't have hang on, I'll be right back. Can you ruin something that isn't that great to begin with? Like maybe I could go over that with the color to try to correct it. That's my own fault for not having a rag with me while using a Posca pen. Had I had a rag with me, it wouldn't have happened. Maybe. Okay, I don't know. We'll let that one try to dry. While it dries, I'm going to try to create this color block. So I think to measure a 1/2 inch, I'm trying to create a uniform curve for this area here. So maybe every 1/4 inch. That might be enough. Make that kind of petal shape. If my measurements are even accurate. I've been staring at this ruler too long. I hate to keep harping on this, but I am dyslexic, so at least for me, looking at rulers, all these little tick marks, it all just starts looking kind of funky after a while. Let me make sure I'm still online. I don't understand. Okay. Okay. So every 1/4. And then to try to help with that uniform petal, I think maybe 1/4 inch at each tick mark that I made. Okay, so from there, let me get the rag out of the way. So just to try to make a kind of rounded petal shape, okay, and then I think my petal shapes really need some help. I'm not trying to get perfect, but a little bit better than what I've got here. Okay. There's a green band. So I'm gonna measure up a 1/8 of an inch up from the scalloped edge that I just made, because there's like a scalloped edge and then dots and then like a flag pattern. There's a name for that pattern and I'm drawing a blank. Okay, so on that 1/4 inch marking, I'm gonna try to center the dots where the dip for the scalloped edges. So it looks like every 1/4 inch. And then I think to measure up 1/8 of an inch from the marks that I made for the dots. And then I think to measure up a 1/4 inch from there. Now I'm going to try to make those flag shape. Okay, so I think I'm going to measure on that last line that I made. I'm going to measure over a 1/4 inch all the way across. This is where I'm going to pinpoint the where the flag is going to start. And then I'm going to go a 1/4 inch up and all the way across, starting from 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to put a 1/8 of an inch here, and then after that, 1/4 of an inch all the way across. And that's where the flag is going to come out to. Okay, and then it looks like white diamonds, I guess. There might, if there's more pattern here, I can't make it out because of the light reflected, whatever. So I think to measure from the borderline down, I think 1/4 inch, no, a 1/2 inch. I want to try to make room for that band of white diamonds. Okay, I'm going to measure up from the line that I just used for the flags, whatever you want to call them. So 1/2 inch. And then to try to make that diamond look, it looks like the white diamonds are offset from the green triangles. So I'm going to measure out 1/4 of an inch. I don't think I'm going to get this 100% centered, because if I measure 1/4 inch out from that first mark, I guess that falls in line. Okay, I'm going to measure from the last solid line I drew, from the tip of the triangle, I'm going to measure up 1/8 of an inch. And that's where I'm going to have the white diamonds come down to, because they don't come all the way down to the green triangles. Okay. This is going to get busy. Not that it already isn't. So in the reference, you can make out red or maybe orange dots. If I should put those in, I probably should. But it looks like there's only one potential dot here, unless it's like reflected from the egg directly next to it. But I'm thinking maybe to put those indicator marks on the diamonds and like the petal pattern. So to maybe mark down 1/4 of an inch. I switched to a 2B pencil, make it a little bit easier to see this. But to measure down 1/8 of an inch for each diamond. So I can come back in and put that pattern in, the dots. Okay, I think from the top edge, I'm going to measure down 1/4 inch and then measure across, and then measuring from the center line on each, like in between each diamond, I'm going to measure from that line down, I think 1/8 of an inch, and just put a dot, because maybe you can make it out. There's like this blue teal color, and then it looks like there's a dot in between each diamond. Hopefully I angled my phone correct so you could see it. I was gonna leave the one dot because it really only looks like there's only one dot here, but because we're working with a lot of dots here, there's a line of dots here, line of dots here, line of dots here. It might not be too far-fetched to just go ahead and put dots on the scallops. So to go back through on the scallop, measure down 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just hoping that I'm kind of centered here. Okay. I'm tempted to go back on this one and try to cover this up. I don't know if that's actually going to work. I'm not sure how I can fix it. So I think this is marigold. No. That's pastel peach, I think. I think it's BK9. Let's see how much more I can mess this one up. I don't know how to fix this one. I mean, I suppose I could cover it in black ink like I did this one. Okay. Colors for this guy. Okay, so I need green, blue, and maybe some kind of red. Okay. With these markers, I can't try to color match, but I think we'll try pastel blue for the blue. I'm just going to go in with that color and then choose the next color. I was going to go straight across, but looking at the pattern again, aside from the kind of triangles, there is like a band that connects them. So I think to measure down a 1/16 of an inch on both sides, and then straight across to try to create that band, line, whatever. Okay, pastel blue. And then that same color is up here. Sorry for the squeaky marker. This is technically new because I haven't used it that much, but I've had it for a while. Okay, that's the blue. And then for the green, it is kind of an olive looking green, but I think I'm gonna go yellow green. And that would be for this section. And then for this section, And then for the dots, I'm not sure if that's red, pink, or maybe some kind of orange. But I'm thinking pink. So maybe this pastel pink. And that would be here. And here. And then there's one more round of dots. White dots. Maybe just for this one, we'll split the color. This, what was this? BK9. And this half, I'm gonna black. I don't know why the nib looks like it's coming out of the marker. I don't know if this is really going to make it any better, because now I'm trying to go over posca pen, which that's paint. And I think that's acrylic paint, which, if you can see, the marker is struggling to hold on to. I mean, aside from the fact that the paint has depth to it, so it's like raised. Okay. I get so into this, I don't know where the time goes. Like, what did I just spend an hour and a half doing? Hour and 28 minutes, whatever. So I was hoping to get further than this, than what I have done. This is gonna need a minute to dry before I can do anything on it. And it might need another coat for where the Posca pen is refusing the color. Okay, so unfortunately, there's probably 2 more sessions here to finish this one, these, and then that. That might be a completely other session. I mean, on one hand, this is fun. On the other, I don't know if I'm just wasting my time. Which, art shouldn't always have, like, immaculate end results. I guess I'm just getting frustrated on how long it's taken me to get through these. Which, that's me. If you're drawing along with me or doodling along with me and you're enjoying yourself, I'm happy for you. I think I just got so much other stuff going on. Should I really be spending my time on this? But I also need to calm down. Um, yeah. I am gonna try to finish this. So if you'd like to join me for that, please make sure that you're following me and that your notifications are turned on. And if you do have a go-to paint marker brand, please let me know either in the comments on YouTube or in my DMs on IG. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed yourself. As frustrated as I am, I did enjoy myself because I don't know what I just did for like an hour and a half. But enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you. Bye.